How you doing? I'm Stuart Simone, and I'd like to talk to you about estate planning. You've already shown an interest. That's great because I believe everybody should have an estate plan. If we live in an uncertain world, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone a couple years down the line or 10 years down the line. Who the heck knows? But there's only one thing that we know for sure is going to happen to us, and that is, unfortunately, we're going to pass away. So that's the one thing we can be sure of. So what else can we be sure? We can be sure that we give the gift to our loved ones, our family, our heirs, so that their lives are not any more miserable. So we want to take care of them with a complete estate plan here. Simone Legal offers a complete A to Z, soup to nuts estate plan, everything for every possible contingency that can happen, and we will take care of you. I'm going to go through this estate plan. You're going to take a look at it. But before I do, I just remind you that if you own any real property, especially in the state of California or anywhere, you really have to have one of these things. Otherwise, your loved ones, when you pass away, besides mourning and grieving for you, they're not going to know what to do for funeral arrangements. They're going to have a probate case they're going to have to open. They're going to have to hire a probate attorney. They're going to be in court for 1 to 2 years. They're going to have to pay a lot of the money out of the estate for the probate. If you have Medicaid expenses for medical, state of California is going to come after your heirs to take the money that is owed for the medical bills out of the estate, which might mean they might have to sell the property. And that's just 2 out of 10 reasons you need to have an estate plan. I have a video on the 10 benefits of estate planning you can take a look at. But suffice to say, this is really a big deal, and I strongly believe everybody should have one. We make the price as low as possible so that everyone can afford it, because I truly believe everybody, especially if they're adults, maybe over the age of 30 or so, that have any real property in California, must have one of these. All right, so let's take a look at this thing. As I was saying, this is the entire soup to nuts estate plan. I'm going to go through it. It's all tabbed, so you can see the tabs for every section. We want to make this easy for your heirs, all right? So we want to make this easy for your heirs so that when they are going to be grieving anyway, right? They're going to be in bad shape anyway. We don't want them having to try to think any more than they have to. So we want to make everything easy. We're going to have everything tabbed for them. Right here at the beginning, we're going to have a summary. This is an explanation of everything that is in this estate plan for the layperson. You know, because the estate plan is over 100 pages, it's a lot of legalese. So we have this whole section here, and it is in layperson's language. Anybody can understand it. We have the initial trust funding, and we have a summary. We have a summary of who's doing what. We have a table of contents here, so they can find anything, whatever they're looking for, very easily. And then at the end of the trust, this is a living trust. Now people think, oh, I just want to get a living trust. But actually you want more than that, because a living trust, it's a bit of a marketing term, actually. The actual trust is more just about estate planning. The living part, as I'll show you in a minute, is about the Advanced Healthcare Directive, the power of attorney, things like that while you're actually living. However, the trust does have benefits while you're alive. But for the most part, it's for estate planning. Now here we have the schedule of the properties. Put that in there. We have instructions. If you have a list of personal items, you can just handwrite them in here, because most people, you know, don't have the time to type it up and everything like that. Although some clients do send me Excel spreadsheets of great detail sometimes. All right, so here we have an assignment of personal property. This shows anybody, the courts, if it ever got to that point, God forbid, that you intend all your personal property to be put into the trust. And what that means is that your successor trustee is going to be handling everything. So we don't want any family squabbles. If you don't have an estate plan, or if you have a poorly done one, you can end up with family squabbles. You do not want that, obviously. So declaration trust, the same thing for real property, citing the state of Hegstad case in the state of California, which says that some people, like, they'll transfer their their property out of the trust and just to get a refinance or something, and they forget to put it back in. This says if that happens, you don't need to open a full-blown probate case for that. Also, if you bought a new property since you've done the trust and you forgot to put it into the trust, you do need to put your property in a trust. This package includes the deed or deeds you need to put your real property into the trust. That is absolutely super important, maybe the most important thing. We'll get to that. That's at the end here. All right. So now we get to certification of trust, or certificate of trust, it's sometimes called. And you will see people don't understand how this works. It's actually pretty simple. The purpose of this, it's about 5 pages. The trust was about 30 pages. This is what you send to a bank or lender or somebody you're going to sell property to or buy property. This tells them all they need to know, but no more, to make the transaction happen. So this gives them, it tells you the power of the trustee and certain things like that, but does not tell them your personal information. Your personal information, you should remain to yourself and your family, nobody else. So a lot of these banks go, well, we want you to send the whole trust. No, don't send them the whole trust. You send them the certification of trust. So we give you that. Now we have wills for everybody. It's a couple. There's going to be 2 wills. 1 will for each person. This is called a pour-over will. I don't want to get into too much detail, but suffice to say, its purpose is to work with the trust. It pretty much says whatever the trust says goes. There are some things in the will that the trust cannot do, so that's why we have these. For example, guardianship we could have in the wills. If you have minor children, if you have minors, you definitely need to have a guardianship. So that's a no-brainer. Now we have durable power of attorney. A lot of people are confused about power of attorney. What is a durable power of attorney? No, it's not printed on vinyl so that so it's durable. Okay, so there's first power of attorney is the general power of attorney for business. So what that is, I assign somebody to be able to do business transactions for me. And if they go crazy or get senile or get Alzheimer's, we don't want them to keep running our business, right? So that is a general power of attorney. Durable means that it lasts even if the person is incapacitated, right? And that is what you want for estate planning. So it's kind of the opposite of a normal general power of attorney. And there's 2 kinds of this for estate planning. There's the springing power, which means that this only kicks in when you have been deemed by medical people to be incapacitated. Or the other kind is immediate. This is usually for older clients. If you're very poor health and you need help right away. As soon as the estate plan is notarized, that kind of power of attorney kicks in immediately. So you can have a loved one or a financial advisor take care of your financial needs immediately. So hopefully that explains a little bit about powers of attorney. A lot of confusion there. Next, we have Advanced Healthcare Directive. That's what they call them in California. You're going to hear a bunch of different terms. If you're looking on websites, they're all over the country. So you've got living will, you've got healthcare directives, you've got all kinds of different terminologies. California, we call it Advanced Healthcare Directive. This has pretty much everything in it in one document. It has what you want health-wise to be done. Let's say this part of the living will. Remember, this is the living trust aspect. You're alive, but you're incapacitated. Maybe you're in a coma. You had a car accident. You're legally not capable for any number of reasons. So that's when this kicks in, and this will tell your doctors what you want them to do. In other words, if you don't have this, and you get into a car accident and you're incapacitated and no one can find your family, the first doctor on call is going to just decide what to do for you. You don't want that, right? You want this. So you're going to have this. You're going to give it to your medical team and make sure they have that, your insurance or whoever. And this has also what's called living will in some things. That is your, what do you want to donate? Your organ donation. right to life versus, don't prolong life. Prolong my life versus right to die. That's the two main choices, and it actually goes into fairly great detail on different ways, like if I'm brain dead, I'd allow them to pull the plug or don't do CPR. It can get pretty detailed in here, and that's really great because these are things that you should be taking care of. You don't want to be having your loved ones having to figure this stuff out, or God forbid, strange doctors you don't even know, right? So you don't want that. Next, we have the transfer documents. This is the funeral arrangements. I'm sorry. The next section was funeral arrangements, final disposition. This is telling your loved ones what happens, for funeral arrangements. Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to have your ashes spread out, in a certain favorite location? All that sort of thing. So that's the final instructions, and you're nominating people to handle that for you. And if you have made funeral arrangements, and I hope you have, then that will be in here. It will have the name of the funeral place and the phone number and who to contact. So that's going to make it a lot easier for your loved ones after you passed away, because you don't want to have to put them through any more than absolute minimum, right? So now we're talking about the transfer documents. So here we have authorization, an assignment for if you have a limited liability company. And I'm all about limited liability companies, especially if you own real estate rental properties. You got to have an LLC, for God's sakes, for asset protection. Please get an LLC if you have rental property, even one. Because, sometimes it goes beyond the insurance. Somebody falls into a hole or breaks or falls off the roof or whatever. A guest of the person can come and sue, right? And so you really want to make sure that you have an LLC. So if you have an LLC, what you do is you assign the LLC to the trust. So the trust actually owns the LLC. That not only takes care of the estate planning for the LLC, but also is a little bit more added bonus of asset protection. Same thing for if you're just a sole proprietor, you have a little side hustle, you're making t-shirts or jewelry or whatever, and it's not really an LLC or a corporation, you can assign that to the trust as well. And then finally, I'm at the end here, but the most important thing of all is the grant deed. The deed of your home, plus if you have any rental properties, any real estate, goes into the trust, but it will not, repeat, not avoid probate unless you get this recorded. So we fill this out, you get it notarized. We can take it in person. Nowadays, you can go online. I can even do e-recording for you if you need be. I will take care of that, whatever. But this is the most crucial thing. This is the last step of the process. So you get this grant deed to trust recorded at the county recorder, and then you will have no worries. After that, you're done. Call it a 13-step process. By the way, there's auxiliary documents in the state of California. Here's one of them. And certain counties have them as well. We will take care of all that for you. You don't have to worry about the deeds. We do a chain of title research here at Samoa Legal. We will make sure that we are deeding the correct names, and everything has got to be perfect. Because believe it or not, sometimes these banks and other institutions actually make mistakes. So sometimes we find problems with deeds. We correct that. That's all included in what we do. So there you have it. The Samoa Legal Complete Estate Plan, and I highly, highly recommend it especially if you own real property, if you have an LLC or business, if you have rental properties. But whether you have property or not, I would say if you have kids, I would get one of these, because remember, it has the living trust aspects. It has advanced self-care directive and a power of attorney. So I call this a no-brainer, and whatever the price is, and it's actually very reasonable here at Samoa Legal, it is priceless. So I'll talk to you guys soon on the phone. Is that the phone? There, that's the phone sick. Talk to you on the phone. You could text me. You could do a Zoom call. Whatever you want to do, get a hold of me, and we'll make a customized estate plan. For a couple, this is about 110 to 120 pages long, and for single people, about 80 to 90 pages. And this will take care of everything for you. So thanks for watching this video, and I'm looking forward to talking to you soon.